it's pretty fascinating um, how fire is a metaphor for that. I'm filming lectures at our beloved metaphysical library here, and it's on YouTube as the RVML Resource Center. And there was a phenomenal presentation that I got to help steward a couple of weeks ago about fire as transformation and as a cradle of life. And while the story of the phoenix rising from the ashes is such a powerful one in this culture, that it's through that very adversity that you gain the skills that you need to rise and triumph, or how like the butterfly needs to fight, or I don't even want to say fight, it needs to just dance inside the cocoon until it's strong enough to break free of that cocoon. And that if you were to pop that cocoon before its time, that butterfly could never fly, because it's the very nature of its confinement that is the training ground for it to be the pollinating superpower of beauty that it is. And fire, um, as humbled as I am by the smoke today, I was reminded by the indigenous wisdom keepers, who this organization, it was amazing. It brought together the indigenous wisdom and the logging industry. So you've got kind of the forest keepers and what's often considered the vexers of the forest. But of course, I'm living in a wood house on a beautiful wood floor, so I say thank you for the cycle of life and how the death and the transformation of this beautiful resource allows us to live in such intricate and wonderful ways. But the real gem, bring it home. Bring it back to the beautiful wisdom of this real gem of these fire stewards, because they describe this area as a dry forest. And I know I learned about the Northwest as always being a rainforest, but here she called it a dry forest. And she said, when settlers came into this area, they had this vision that the land was unkempt and nothing was done to it, and they were just in a wilderness. And it just so happened that everything worked the way it worked, in harmonious balance. Though in fact, for the people living on the land, they were stewarding this land all the time. And instead of our culture's version of penning up the animals and confining this and organizing that and compartmentalizing and sticking everything in there, what they did was they looked at how the land integrated as a whole. And through this system of death and rebirth, and what gets nurtured and what gets held back, they did the equivalent of farming the entire ecosystem. And it was the job of the women to set these fires, to maintain the forest. And fire, here, this path of destruction, it could easily burn us alive in the wrong circumstance. And unfortunately, some people have used it that way as a weapon of warfare and a weapon of imbalance. But here, this fiery death was used as a nurturing tool of transformation. And they would set fires in specific areas, understanding that the ecosystem only thrives when it's in balance. And the balance is understanding right relationship with your own species and what other trees are there. So for us, what other humans were interacting, but also how it affects the other creatures. And what they found was by lighting these fires and maintaining certain areas of brush, it really stewarded the plants, the insects, the grazers, the birds. Everybody could thrive in there. And when they needed to eat and wanted to eat something such like that, they could go right over to that area and just be like, here I am, I'm in this spot. And I honor this cycle, I'm helping to support this cycle, and I can get my food from there. As they wanted to, they didn't think that there was fishing, but what they did for the fish was with the river, they worked with the natural phenomenon of the eddies in the river. And the eddies are just those little places off to the side where the water spirals, and it looks like on one level like, whoa, what the heck happened? This water's stagnating, it's not going down the river, it's missing its point. No, the water's doing just what it needs to do. It's cycling different environments for these little ecosystems within ecosystems to thrive. And so they could literally, in their sense, farm these wild fish and know, hey, I'm going to walk down to the river and here's where we help the fish go. And that's beautiful poetry in motion, and the real sense of biodynamic farming that, you know, our permaculture is just striving to get back to in this day. But there's another fascinating part of the puzzle. We know that our trees are all talking to each other in chemical signals, in underground transference, so both below in the soil and in the air, through their own methodologies, but also through interacting with other trees of other species, with other fungi and bacteria, and they're exchanging all of these nutrients. And the big difference between what they understood as a healthy environment versus what the loggers were trying to do in restoring life to a place that they clear cut was that in understanding how the generations and different species of plants talk to each other, they allowed a spaciousness between the big trees. And we've done little tests now in our modern time to give a tree, you know, a little bioluminescent nutrient and track it out into the field. But it was already understood just from the etheric sense that there were mother trees and father trees and kind of nodal points in the transmission of this information, so that when one area was struggling, the rest of the ecosystem could help and literally funnel support and energy to this other area. And this was only possible because of the age diversity of the environment. And why this is so paramount here is that the loggers would go back in, and when they wanted to help out, they planted very dense rows of trees, super close together. Too many, too close together, and believe it or not, this grid geometry, just like feng shui would say, the grid stopped the flow. But the complication doesn't stop there in creating this, everything has to look the same, be the same, one species, one geometric form in there. Because they were all the same age and they grew up together, they became tinderboxes for the forest fires. And the analogy that's coming up to me in our human life is, within the social justice movement, which is very dear to my heart, and I'm sure dear to everybody here, right? That we all want peace, joy, justice, and respect for all beings. And that we know that things need to change in order for that to be possible. But it's not going to happen by everybody coming in and then conforming to this next system, right? Maybe we can cast off colonialism, but we don't want to start that new thing that makes everybody just all come up the same way at the same time. And when we're even forced into that in a smaller way in this culture, like going through a public education system or perhaps older religious systems, we're often mired with this concept that in order to thrive, we need to look and act like everybody else. And we need to fit into these rigid lanes of life. And what the biomimicry and the wisdom of the forest shows us is that actually even the individual creatures thrive best in diverseness, and diverseness of type, but also that diverseness of age, and that's physical age, that's also stages along the cycle, allowing the wisdom of this cycle of life to evolve in its own way. So we can let things die off in one area to help things really grow and thrive in the next area. And if we're feeling like we're coming into a space where it's sort of like a dead end, or like that limb of our life is dying and not doing so well, or maybe growing in a direction that could continue but doesn't feel the best for us, there's a true power and nurturing wisdom in lopping off that branch, in pruning that certain part of the growth away. And even though it might have a sense of destruction on one part, and it definitely falls into death and transformation, it also allows us to really grow in the most beneficial way that we choose, and be open to maybe even finding new and unexpected areas and ways to grow and share in a sense that wasn't applicable to who we were before, but can really help us in the now. And so we honor this cycle of death and transformation as well as being the birth and regeneration, that it's always going to be intertwined. And in some sense, the idea that we talk about is energy being neither created or destroyed. It's really what we're paying attention to as we go through this cycle of death and transformation. Where are our eyes? That phrase, eyes on the prize. Where are we going to put our eyes? Where are we going to focus the attention of our heart? How are we going to use the decay as compost and catalytic energy to grow into our optimum situation for the now? It's why my gosh, are you seeing this prayer of the cosmic yum here? Let me take myself out of here for a moment. This symbol right here, the prayer of the cosmic yum, that many of you know, and this is my cosmic family yum crest, as it were. this is all about life's transformation. In it, with the Hunabku in the center, the quincux, that was considered the still point in creation. And I've here placed the yin and yang in the center as a prayer coming out of our coming into form, that everything coming into form is in balance. And this symbol here on the sides, this is my personal symbol for the cosmic gravy catcher. And it distills the cosmic yum from the womb of creation to make it bioavailable. And it's so exciting to me that this was like the intention that you brought into it, because this is always my intention and my inspiration for this group, that we can support each other and I can be a steward of the cosmic yum, the harmonious heart in transformation. And it's definitely why we fluff over here. Because we also take that wisdom from Ma'at, that in order to pass through, in the Egyptian pantheon, it was from this life on earth into the afterlife, the fields of illumination of the afterlife. You were only granted access to that next place if your heart could weigh as light as a feather. So they had this guiding principle within their culture that we celebrate in our now as a timeless wisdom, that in this endless cycle of change, it's for us in our human journey to find our balance and maintain our heart as light as a feather, so that we can grow in an optimum direction, no matter what situation is coming into light. And my gosh, I gave a few analogies of transformation. Anything else you want to touch upon or comment on, Thomas?
I got a little distracted there. What did you say?
I said we've done a lot of talking on transformation, and then I went to a few different places with it. And I was wondering if that brought anything up for you, or there was anything else you'd like to address, or how that.
Yeah, that's good. I like how you started talking about the land, because ironically, we're working on our land a lot recently. And we've put a lot of transformation to the land, taking down a lot of brush and things like that. So different kind of resets, I guess. So I like that, talking about the forest, because we spend a lot of time in the forest.
Yes.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to think about how to manage it the way, the indigenous people would have. They wouldn't have let privet take over. So, the first step is removing this invasive, hedge that people thought was attractive, which is not healthy for the ecosystem. But then how do you nurture the things that you want to grow? How do you make sure you don't cut too many saplings down, or you keep the right kind of hardwood versus pine, or there's a lot of managing. When we thought about getting the extension office to come out and give us a consultation or hire consultants, and I know some people too that work with a nature conservancy called I think it's Sacred Conservancy. They're indigenous, they have Native American roots. So They actually have a nonprofit that is managing land like that.
That's awesome. I mean, the interesting thing about ecosystems is like by their very nature, they're going to be specialized wherever they are, and little micro climates within climates, right? You're right near that little water system and um, the forest. So how beautiful to get some guidance from people who understand what that balance is. And it's funny. I think of invasive species sometimes, like I'm an animist at heart, and plants are very alive for me. And in the same way that us other humans or mammals or fish are migrating around the planet, the plants are migrating all over the place. And so in the fractal of immigration, of plantness, locally here are two of our biggest invasive species. One is called star thistle. It's from the Himalayas. So it came from the mountains up there, and it just, if you walk on it barefoot, it's not very good feeling to your feet. But from that same region, we get the blackberry that grows so prolifically here, and it's delicious, and it feeds a lot of birds and houses a lot of creatures in the insect and mammal world. So it's going to be really fun to see how you create this environment in your space now in Atlanta. Even for so many people who are local to you, they don't have quite that mix of land and forest that you do. How does it feel clearing away the old plants?
For me, it feels like it's just a really big ass garden that I'm tending.
Yeah. It's like potential for growing new species, like planting things like I have mint. I'm like, maybe we should put mint out there to keep the mosquitoes away. Or there's a lot of potential, like rhododendron along the water, or like a whole botanical garden kind of potential.
I could see some clover too.
Wildflowers. I don't know.
I walk through there with like little hand edge trimmers and pruners and clipping things. It's kind of silly.
But we're kind of going crazy and getting a forestry mulcher to come through and really get it.
It sounds amazing.
Like we have the sheep, but they can't take down privet.
Well, it's silly in the most profound ways because it's putting great time and energy and nurturing care directly into your environment. It's gonna support you and your family and everyone. Yeah, and all the creatures too that come and pass through your land and call that land home. I was earlier today in meeting with Erica, and her parallel, interestingly, was doing that with her storage space and cleaning and clearing so that there was space for the new. This is a great theme for a little meditation galactivation journey. So I'm going to do a sonic invocation shortly, and in that I invite you all to just breathe your breath as a fluffy hug from creation, smiling right into your heart, fluffing up your beautiful life as art. It's beaming love and affection to even all of those things that we are cutting off and discarding in our ways. from our ecosystems, from our relationships, externally, and very importantly, from anything that we have within ourselves. This is a sacred strength of sweetness practice that says, we're here to love ourselves. So any of those also parts that are too self-critical and judgmental, we just can't stop focusing on that thing that used to be, well, we fluff it free and send it on its way, transmuting all that energy to open up into the love and light, conjuring a sweet light. In the nourishment, we find ourselves with all our needs met, feeling so good, so blessed, gratefully connected and protected. Fluffing up the goodness, yes, we be empowered, every cell well, optimized with vital health, all systems coherently in alignment, glowing in our sweet refinement, extending this vibration to all creation, that we flow with beauty constellations, nourishing, supportive, and sweet. This is the reality where we meet, nourished, supported, so sweet, fluffing our goodness, so incomplete, allowing our change to rearrange anything that comes up, 'cause we are resilient and fluff. We've always got more than enough to come back to the still points of our hearts. Calibrating kindness, rekindle our spark. So thank you, beauties, for meeting us here, fluffing our auras crystal clear, that we grow healthy together, cycling in transformation forever. I'm really so honored to share these moments of sweetness, channeling the wisdom of creation and an interconnected constellation with this miracle of life that we live in. And it's been called many things and many times. And in our science, we think of it as an interconnected universe, singleverse of the electromagnetic spectrum of creation. And when it's resonating in one frequency, it comes off as light, and another, it comes off as sound. There's so many octaves we can't even contemplate, though we use, our technology like electric x-rays and whatnot to help expound and illuminate that into our focus. But whatever we want to call it, from this modern scientific form or the interconnected luminous light world of our ancient past, we are here together honoring our interconnectedness as a rainbow dance of life. And it's cycling in many scales and dimensions. And there's, as we do this and create our own reality, our own interpretations, and our own illuminations of the rainbow spectrum, there's a lot of things that are interconnected and flowing together. So here in the Cosmic Yum, we distill the crystal jewel of our hearts as a prism of wisdom that takes the totality of information, here seen as the pillar of white light, which actually contains all spectrums in it. And we harmonize this into the beautiful cascading rainbow that we might find our own undulating still point and perspective of our innate resonance, not the chasing out and, casting this and that everywhere, but that luminous flow that comes from centering in our heart and allows the radiance to just emanate in all directions. It's a true physics of bliss that we're studying right here. And for those in the room, I will say this is the moment where we show the slide with the scientific explanation of why unicorns fart rainbows. Because we study this on the rainbow path of life, and that is my practice and where we meet so that I can help steward this rainbow body illumination in myself and in all beings here as like our spiraling fields of electromagnetic frequency harmonizing with the rainbow love light of all that be, and expanding this rainbow love all around our beautiful planet Earth, enveloping all beings in this beautiful, resonant, cascading flow of heart bliss. And we bring this rainbow around ourselves, but we share this rainbow with all of creation. In the flowing double torus, it's seen in this picture. We've got this very two-dimensional rainbow bridge, and people call this the circumpolar rainbow bridge connecting the North Pole, the South Pole, the Northern Lights, and the Southern Lights. Certain indigenous traditions talk about this rainbow reaching out in one direction to our central sun, and in the other to the very edge of creation. It's not just a static thing. It's really, it's glowing and flowing in all of these different directions, meeting in the center point here, which for us humans is like the center of our heart. So I might call it the crystal jewel within the center of our heart. But, you know, I think we instinctively feel this, that creation is flowing in so many directions all at once. It's some parts are growing, some parts are dying, some nurturing connections are bringing us into one direction, and then we also have other things maybe we got to juggle over here in our lives. You know, we're in these beautiful earth bodies and in these earth conditions, so it comes up in many ways, who we are in our physical environment, who we are in our families, how we integrate that with our society and our work life, all these different spiral flows. But we honor it all as part of the coherent light of love, of which we are all born. And I know for me, when I connect to my inner heart rainbow, I'm just like, I am resonant in my core. I'm even more giddy now than I was when I started this beloved transmission with you. Because here we've tapped together into the crystal wisdom of our heart to embody our own holofractographic rainbow light bodies in connection with each other. And, you know, these are simplified images and light shows, and it's kind of, you know, by nature helps to show things in these solid forms. But of course, in the physics of bliss, we understand that life is, you know, systems within systems within systems. It's an infinite level. So the element of coming back to this perspective of how we crystallize our vision and our perception to create a beautiful pattern, whatever pattern it is that we choose it to be. That is our beloved purpose, or I should say that's my life mission, to help steward that energy and to honor that within this harmonic resonance, which I find this a great illustration of, because you see there's a lot of different stripes and different threads coming in that spiral towards the central point. And the physics of bliss that we talk about here, and that scientifically gets measured in the elements of heart coherence machines and different biophysics metrics studies, we find that optimum health, very much like the forest ecosystem, it's not when everything is exactly in lockstep, being it's monochromatic and the same. You know, all chambers of your heart don't beat at the same time. And the pulses of your nervous system go at a different rhythm. So it's not about creating this lockstep conformity. It is about fluffing up enough spaciousness so that each system gets to find its optimum flow. And when those flows co-create in a nurturing way, that is what is called coherence. And in spirituality, we talk about coherence a lot with heart brain coming into sync. But what it actually is describing is an electromagnetic principle, a measurable electric phenomenon, that the waves of energy being generated can come together in such a way that they spin in harmony, in concert, like a beautiful symphony, and cascade to a middle point. So anytime we put our attention onto something, for example, there's a measurable electric wave that we are sending out from our being that gets sent to the direction of our attention. And it's considered to cascade into a middle point, revealing why so many spiritual teachings invite us to come into our center and come into our stillness. And here in the cosmic yell, we invite us to come center right in our hearts as literally the portal stargate that connects us to all that be at all time. And it's the beauty of this diversity that gives us the help, that gives us the colors of the rainbow, that gives us my channeling transmission and the, countless, perhaps easily thousands, if not millions of people that have gone into allowing this microphone to be built with its technology and its raw materials and its worldwide distribution, stewarding the wisdom of the crystal fluff. Here we acknowledge that we are constantly in a dance with our human allies, our resource allies, our cosmic allies, and that as we look for that win-win and encourage every being to shine its true heart, empowered to fulfill its life as art, we find that way to co-create our life as an intricate tapestry of cosmic yum woven into formation, each expressed, uniquely blessed in its special way. So the more we are fulfilled within, the more we naturally can support and encourage everyone else to win. And that is our vision here, the win-win vision. I love this image of the sparkling light body. Another time I will go more into detail about this chakra system, but just in the sake of transformation and life and death and everybody choosing its own way, I will very succinctly say that this beautiful rainbow that we have come to know and love as our system, even this is a new formation. It really, strangely enough, did not codify succinctly until the 1970s, when I was but a wee tot. And that when you go around the world and across systems, even where these are placed and what the colors are, become different and honored in their way. And that each system has its beautiful wisdom and its truth to share, just like each of you and you and you. Let's have a beautiful heart spark to shine and to flower as only you can do. I'm just here cheering you on to nurture your heart song and trust your intuition, heart-centered on the path, to embrace these cycles of transformation as gifts and opportunities, and that any anger and frustration or confusion can become catalysts of concern that superpower us flowing into our optimum direction. Really trusting the cosmic affection that we are one, in the cosmic yum, we are love, and we are loved. And we got this, because we've loved the goodness. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to share in this constellation of meditation. Really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to close this out with the Rainbow Body Galactivation song. If there's anything any of you would like to share in this now before that happens, just let me know. I'm super, super inspired that we get to share in this way. So with humble gratitude, I shall grab my guitar. This is the song to galactivate our rainbow bodies. And on this rainbow path, we honor the indigenous wisdom of the Rainbow Bridge. We also really guide our light to that Tibetan wisdom of the clear light rainbow that sparks in every heart. But as we harmonize our life to love and greet it all with tenderness, for that equanimity and understanding of unconditional love. Ooh, yeah, unconditional love. It's when we really embody our power here on this planet. And it's how we portal through dimensions, through the stargate of the heart, and the clear light rainbow of infinity. May all our troubles and pain melt into love again. Lessons learned on our path. Repeat until they are grasped in love. Live in love. Live in love. Live in love. La 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 la. May all beings live in love. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Namo Buddhaye, 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 Namo Buddhaye. activate rainbow party. Activate rainbow party. Dissolving in color and light, in the infinite pool of light, beyond space, beyond time, dissolving into cosmic love light. Galactivate rainbow party. Galactivate a rainbow party. Activate rainbow party. Honoring the awakened wisdom within each and every heart. Namo to bow, to revere Buddha and inner awakenedness within you and you and you and you and you. Fluffing it up good and true. Thank you, friends. We've left our goodness. Woo. Thank you so much for joining. Really.
Thank you, Missy. So fun.
Thank you, Missy.
Yay, I so appreciate and cherish you. And thank you for joining. We'll be galactivating weekly at this time and growing our community. And I just send you so many blessings and beautiful well wishes on your day and your journeys and your lovely family constellations that are beaming at me. Mwah. Thank you for being my inspiration. You, Sharon and Dallas. Yay.
We're slowly collectivating over here.
Yay.
Going to grow from here. I've been telling people a little bit, but I didn't like make a mess. Like, I mean, I think our publication needs to get a little, like have something that's a little like.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I did the same thing. I just invited. This is my here. Want to come in and say hi? This is my friend Akai here. Oh, yeah, this is. She's got a Maha fluff. I gotta turn off the
what fluff?
Fluff.
Yeah, no, I gotta turn off. Let's see. I'll go this way.
Yeah, I gotta get one of those.
And switch my camera. Okay, here we are. Now it won't fall apart.
Maha fluffing.
Maha fluff.
Maha.
Yeah, I'm making she's not done yet, and then there'll be like a white. That's purple and black, and then there'll be like a white and black one. Just little adventures and fluff. But I was kind of feeling the same way, where I'm super excited to be doing this and keep my like muscle memory and stuff good, and then make sure it's really technically going well, and that it comes from a way that feels good to you guys too. Yes. And then I'll make a public flyer. So.
Are you still recording?
Oh, I am.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to turn that off?
Yeah.